Hello and welcome to part 2 of our London bus build. And let's get straight into it. First, I want to thank everybody for all your comments and suggestions and encouragement. Fantastic on our part 1 of the build. And in part 1, we got the engine all built and also all weathered up. And one of the comments, or a couple of comments, was how badly these Leyland engines leaked oil. So I sort of got the hint. And I thought, rightio. So what I've done is I've made it a little bit more greasier and oilier down the bottom here. Okay, you'll notice underneath it's a bit messier. Even around where the gasket is on the top cover there, got a bit of oil showing through there. Just dirtied it up a little bit more. I think that's looking much better. So there you go. So that's been put aside and there we go, out of the way. Now we're up to looking at the instructions here. Step 10. So what I've done is I've taken all the parts off for the undercarriage. I've just primed it all up in the grey, primed up the tail shaft. This piece here is the exhaust under the bus because this connects into the exhaust pipe coming off the engine. So we need to get that as rusty and weathered up as much as the one on the engine, so that'll be fun to do. The other parts are all done in aluminium, so this is the main frame that goes down over the top. This is the differential and the tail shaft, all in aluminium, and at the moment it's all undercoated. Now unfortunately for me, I've had a bit of a delay in the airbrushing because I broke my airbrush. Yeah, I'll put a picture up in the corner. You'll see the little nozzle. I had that off because I was trying to clean it. I usually don't take that off, but it was getting a bit clogged up, so I thought, oh, I haven't cleaned it properly for a while. And when I tried to screw it back in, it must have not gone in level with the thread, and I've tightened it up and it's just snapped inside the barrel in there. So unfortunately, that's the end of the airbrush. Yeah, it was a Mr. Hobby airbrush. It wasn't a very expensive one. So anyway, so what I've done is due to the good suggestion from Jason from Outlaw Paints, he suggested I go out there and get myself an Iwata airbrush. So I did. I've gone in there. It's cost me $250. It was actually down from 300 plus, so I got a good bargain deal there. So hopefully the new airbrush will be I'm going to be impressed with it. I'm sure I will. So Jason, I'll be thanking you later, I'm sure. All right, so what I will be able to do though, I do have a cheap little backup airbrush which I managed to finish my undercoating with. But I do have a backup airbrush where I may just do that exhaust pipe in the E, which is metallic grey, and then I'll spend some time weathering it. And hopefully tomorrow, or more likely the next day, I'll get my airbrush and we can get on with it and get the rest of this all painted up in the aluminium. Okay, and then over the page, these parts here, I've also taken off. And these parts I haven't done yet. They all go down on the bottom. These two are labeled E. I'm not sure what they may be. Not too sure, but E is metallic grey. B there is a metal black. So I'm not sure about that one either. This is the aluminium. This could be, yes, that looks like more of the exhaust pipe there because it looks like it's going off and out to the side. Yeah, I'm sure that is. So there we go. I'm going to do the exhaust pipe and get it all weathered up in this video. How's that? While we're waiting on the airbrush. All right, guys, stick around. I'll be back in a second and we'll see what we can do. Back shortly. Okay, welcome back. And good news, our Iwata Eclipse HPCS airbrush arrived. Fantastic. Came within 2 days. So really happy to get started with this. I've already put the quick release on there with some electrical plumber's tape in there just to make sure there'll be no air leaks, and yeah, it really does feel really nice. So I'm looking forward to spraying something, which I'm going to go do now. All right, so I'll be back shortly. Here we are back with the main chassis areas here, all painted up in the Outlaw Paints aluminium. Went on beautifully. There's the differential, the tail shaft in there. Came up nice as well. This section here, I don't know what that is exactly, but it had to be done in, is it a metal black, which I've done. But the paints went well. The airbrush is fantastic. What can I say? It just feels right, eh? The control on it, the trigger, there's no sideways movement on the trigger like I had in the Mr. Hobby one. The Mr. Hobby one was fine. It was really, really a good airbrush. I've no problem with it at all. But I certainly, at this stage, noticed stepping up an extra level with the Iwata Eclipse is definitely, I haven't used it much yet. I've also done the base. I've done all that in aluminium. It's drying now. I need to get that fully dry before we can put all this stuff down. We'll also put all this down on it, exhaust pipe and everything. I was going to weather this separately, but then I realized I really need to clear coat all this before I start putting on the panel line and the other stuff to get this looking a bit grotty and dirty. So I need to put it all on first, and then I'll go across and do all the weathering underneath. But yeah, the airbrush, magic, absolutely magic. All right, so now what I'll do is, as soon as that's dry, which will be in just a few seconds for you guys, I'll bring it out here and we can put all these parts in place. Okay, I'll be back in a sec. Okay, welcome back everybody. So here's the underside of the bus, all done in the aluminium, painted up. So this is all done. And what I do have to do is this part in here, which is, I think, part of the transmission, that needs to be done in the same darker metallic grey, I think it was, yeah, that we did the tail shaft and a few other bits and pieces in. So that sort of colour is what I need to do that. So what I'll do right now is I'm just going to go and mask it up around here, give it a nice tight little spray with my new airbrush. When that's dry, as I said, we'll start putting all the tail shaft in and the chassis and all these parts. Quite a few. Got all this as well. So we can all put that all on there and get it all weathered up. All right, I shall be back in a sec. Okay, there you go. I've just masked that up. Used a bit of plastic, just cut little squares, and just so we won't have overspray. It's not too concerned because a lot of this will be weathered up anyway, but that'll keep most of it. And we'll just go in there now and give this a squirt, and I'll be back in a sec and we'll have a look at it. Okay, I've just painted it literally 2 minutes ago, taking off all the masking. So I don't like leaving it on any longer than you need to, and it's only there to mask while you're painting. Once you're done, no reason why it should stay there any longer. But other than that, this was quite easy to do, and didn't take much time. And yeah, very good. There it is. So there you go. That bit's done. Looking good. So I'll go touch up that now, and then finally we'll be able to start sticking some pieces down on the bottom here. Okay, back in a sec. All right, back again, everybody. And as you can see, I've got everything on here. All the chassis on, the exhaust is there, tail shaft, all these parts. I don't even know what that is, but it's there. Same with that, that's there. All good. Now, none of that is glued in. It's all just sitting there and all test fitted, and it all fits perfectly. All the holes line up, everything's spot on. But now what I want to do is I want to weather the exhaust pipe, which will require most of the weathering to get that looking like the exhaust off the engine. Okay, so that's going to need a lot of work. So will little bits around on the floor here. We're just going to discolor a little bit, put a bit of shadow detail and so forth all along there. That's why I've left it so that I can remove all of this and do it separately. Okay, but what I also want to do is clear coat. Okay, before I put the weathering products on the bare paint, I want to do a clear coat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray a clear coat over all of this now, let that dry, then I'll come along, take all the parts off, then we'll do all our weathering and get all that tidied up and or messed up as it should be, and then it can all go back and everything will be fine. That's the plan. This gets us all the way down to step 13 on the instructions. Step 13 includes putting the mud flaps on. I'm leaving those off till later after we do the wheels. And besides putting the engine in, which will be done pretty much when I've finished under here, then we'll be going on to doing the wheels and tyres. So there's a bit of a heads up on what's to come. All right, so I'm going to get this clear coated now, and then and we'll get on to some weathering. Be back in a sec. Here we're back again. Got the clear coat drying on all that, so I thought, well, as I usually do, let's move on. Now the next step after that was putting the engine in, but part of that step was putting in the front radiator, looks like, which is this piece here, right? And then there's this part that goes on the side of one of the wheels. That needs to be painted, but this part, this is where it's important to check with your photo etch instructions, because if you jump ahead to step 11 and 12 on the photo etch, you would find that this needs to be replaced with photo etch. So the only part we need of this is those two little tabs at the top there. The rest is throwaway because the rest is going to be photo etch. I'm just showing here, I'm bending one of the pieces at the moment that needs a sort of box-shaped square bent in the center there, and that is here in step 12. You can see that bit, and I'm doing this part here. Before it is step 11 is the actual radiator, which I'll also be doing, but I thought I'd get this part first because that's where these attach. Well, somehow, yeah, those two parts that we took off this piece that we no longer need, that color means that you don't keep it. They go on to the next step, which is this when it's folded, and it shows the location where those plastic pieces connect on. All right, and then it ends up showing you the completed piece here with those plastic bits off. And then down further here, we've got the whole thing actually what it looks like when it's fitted, which I'm not too sure how we're going to go about that because this is supposed to be painted black, as far as I can tell, going by the instructions from the manual. But I don't know what all this is to be painted around the outside and whether that's the right time to be putting that in. But at least we'll have it made up, and then we can look at doing that. That's the tricky part in these builds with the photo etch, is your paint sequence. So there it is, there's our part. I'll finish this up. I'll get the other little pieces off and put them on too, and then we'll put the radiator goes in there, or the cooler, whatever it is, back on. All right, back in a sec. Okay, welcome back. So here's the photo etch parts done. Just trying to keep the glare off it. There we go. So that's the radiator, although I'm starting to think it's sort of a cooler, oil cooler, because it sits behind the actual radiator. And that's the frame for it to sit in, which gets connected down into the framework. So it's a little bit confusing, but these need to be painted black. And I was wondering how that goes. If I was to paint that black now and fit it, is that going to cause me problems painting it with the rest of the engine bay if it's a different colour? But I've gone ahead through the instructions and looked and seen that the actual driver's compartment includes a wall that will cover one side of the engine bay, and this one here that we've got to paint aluminium covers the other side, and then there's just the back wall which will be painted as a separate piece as well. So I think we're pretty safe to put this in. I need to test fit it in the main bottom section, which is still out there with a clear coat going on, but we'll get that in soon, and we'll just test fit and see how it all looks in there, as well as the engine needs to be put in. So yeah, it confuses things when you got photo etch parts to go on, but That's it. So this piece here is completely replaced with this. We put the two little plastic bits on the top there that were cut off this, and that's the replacement. That goodbye. But I won't do that just in case. All right, I shall be back soon. We'll see how this fits. Okay, welcome back. So I did test that piece. It does fit, but I'm not putting it in permanently at the moment because I've gone and taken off all the bits off the bottom here, and we're going to start weathering all of this and getting this looking a little bit, looks like it's been on the roads for a while. Okay, so what I'm doing, and I'll just show you here, I'm using Mr. Hobby weathering color here, and this is called a multi-black. A little bit in a container here. I'm using a bit of sponge, experimenting in different ways. So I'm just patching a bit of sponge in there and just putting it on, but I found that was going on a bit too much. So I came along with a brush and I just brushed it across and just played with it a bit. Over here I've got some white spirits. So that with a cotton bud can remove everything if I want, completely taken off. Remember, I did clear coat all of this before I did any of this, so that protects the paint. So there's no problem of accidentally wiping paint off. But the mineral spirits lets you adjust it to the amount you want. So it's coming up okay. I've just done this back section. Sorry about the glare, but you might be able to see there. Now, I don't want to do too much. I just want to keep it, just a little bit dirt and grime there. And I'll continue working up all the way through here and covering under the wheel arches and everything, probably doing a little bit extra under the wheel arches and others. Just remembering the direction of the bus is travelling. So this way is forward. So most of the stuff on here is going to be going on that way as it gets flicked up off the road surface. So try to brush that way rather than this way when you're applying it. But anyway, I'll see how it goes. Obviously, some parts like the exhaust is going to need a lot more, and probably a bit more. A lot of this is also going to be done as well. So yeah, it's coming up all right, I think. Just keep working at it, and we'll see how it goes. All right, I'll continue on, and we'll come back and have another look later. Back in a sec. Okay, welcome back. So there we go. Everything is done. I hope you can see that. There's a bit of glare I'm trying to avoid. I'll put some photos up in the corner. You might be able to see better. But the exhaust pipe's all done. It's looking really good. Looks certainly used. We've used the multi-black on that. I used some of the rust on the Tamiya package here. Also the soot. Put that across there as well. All came out well. Most of it's panel line wash. All on here, we've done the panel line wash. Just blow that off. The differential, I did some panel line accent color, the Tamiya one, just to bring out the bolts. Bit of an oil there thing going on around the joints in the tail shaft. All this must be the transmission in here. It's all done. All this up here up to as far as the engine goes in. With this part here, we've done the fuel tanks weathered. All the floors come up real well. I'm happy with the way that's turned out. What do you think? I think it's pretty good, eh? Now, what I've done now is and glued the frames in as well. So everything is glued in and completely done. So I'm happy with that. So turning it over now. From what I could tell with the instruction, it was difficult to see. Most of the driver's cab is going to be over here. I have sat the engine in there just as a test fit, and mainly to see how much I could see down the bottom here, because it doesn't tell you about painting anything down here. Now this side will be covered where the driver's compartment goes in, but you may be able to see down there. So I sprayed some aluminium down in there and on this face here. But there's also this piece which I've just painted that's still drying. That's going to attach on there, but it doesn't come all the way to the top. So that extra bit of aluminium on there will cover that. I'm pretty sure. It's strange because the actual instructions point aluminium onto the guard here. that this should be painted, yet this is completely covered. You can't see that at all. So I don't understand why that was asked to be painted. Because part of the front end, which I've also test fitted, completely covers all of that. So yeah, all a bit tricky. Also the oil cooler, which I think it is, behind the radiator, which we did in the photo etch, there it is there painted up. All right, so there it is in the metal black, and that's come up real nice, along with the frame for it. Okay, and that's going to sort of go in the front here, and that'll sit in the front on there, and the engine will go in. As soon as this is dried, that's all going in along with the piece on the side, and the engine goes in. That will complete step 14. Okay, so that's all going to go down into there. So I'm looking forward to doing that, because after that we'll turn the page and we'll be doing some wheels. There's some wheels and rims and tyres that need work on. Sorry if you can see it up here. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's come up okay. And yeah, I'll come back and we'll have a look when those are all sitting on here and the engine's sitting in there. And we'll make a start on the tyres. Okay, we'll be back in a sec. Okay, welcome back. I know I haven't put the engine in yet. I will. I've got this radiator part painted up in the frame. I've got that done in the aluminium. So they're right to go on. But I started on the wheels, okay? Now, there's some important things to take note of in here. This is step 16. So doing the front wheel is the main issue. I came across a problem. So the front wheel tells you to put this little piece on there. Sounds simple. There's our piece. You match it up. It looks like that. Definitely goes like that. Pop that in there, and it doesn't fit. Yet that's telling you what to do. Telling you that's what you got to do is put that in there. There's a mistake. Okay, you don't put that in there. You turn this around, and it goes in there. All right, and when it goes in there, it fits. Like that. Okay, trust me, it does. It's just not going to do it now because I'm on camera. And I haven't got my glasses on, but there it is. All right, so it will go into there. And I really should video this again. There it is. All right. So that's where it goes. So they're showing that the wrong way around. Also, on here, where they've got this part going into there, there's our part here. There it is there. That looks right, doesn't it? And there's our piece. Pop that in there. There we go. You think, oh, no problem? No, wrong. If you put that in there, then the two rims don't attach together, okay, like it tells you in the instructions. Take that out, again, turn it around, pop it in the back, pop it in that way. Then you can glue that together like that. All right, so they've got that wrong as well. So trust me, you don't want to get caught out and glue these all together and find out that you've got to pull them apart. Is the front wheel step 16, okay? That goes in that way, and this little hub goes on there, doesn't fit on there. Took me a long time to figure that out, I tell you, because even throughout the book, you go through the instructions and you look, there's nowhere you get a good shot of the rear wheel, or you get a pictures like this that don't show it clear enough. All right, so sorry, am I telling you the right one? The rear wheel or front wheel? Yeah, I said the rear wheel, didn't I? It's not the front wheel, it's the rear wheel that's doing this, okay? It's the one with the two tyres on it, okay? So yeah, so just be aware, they go in that way. So what I'm going to do now that I've got all these ready to go is, I haven't got my red paint yet. I'm getting that specially mixed up to match the colour they're supposed to be. But in the meantime, I will be undercoating them black. So I'll glue them together, remembering that you don't glue this part in, okay, this piece here, because you want that to turn around, because that's where your wheel's going to clip in, like that, okay, even though that's the wrong end, but it's going to go on like that, all right, and you want it to turn. All right, so I'm going to go black undercoat all of these, and that way when the red goes on, you get a bit more nicer detail in them. Okay, I'll finish that up. Then I promise we'll come back and we'll have that engine in and the front parts put on. Okay, back shortly. Okay, back. So as you can see, the engine is in as promised. Radiator and the shroud for it is in as well. All went in, no problem at all. Everything connected up quite well. The exhaust connected to the exhaust underneath. Same with the connection for the, what do you call that, the tail shaft. Because if we turn it over, see it all running down. It's looking quite good. I'm pretty happy with all that. So that completes everything up until step 16 with the tyres. Like I said, I've just undercoated them in black. I'm waiting on paint, so I won't be painting them, but there's no rush, because even though we're up to step 18 now, step 19 is actually putting the wheels on. But I don't think we'll need to do that. I think we can put them aside and do them towards the end. But step 18 is putting on the floor, and it looks a bit complicated. I know there's some photo etch parts to do. There's a lot of painting to do, a lot of referring back to the other instructions. So we need to get all that part sorted before it goes onto there. So yeah. So I'm going to finish up the video here. It's only half an hour, but I'm trying to keep them short, and maybe we can get more than one out a week eventually. And thanks all for watching. Don't forget to watch my live stream on Fridays, and you can catch up with me, and we can chat about this and anything else that I've built and what you're building. It's getting quite popular now. And don't forget to put any comments you've got, questions down the bottom, or tips if you've built this. I'm all open for tips to get this together. Okay, so thanks a lot. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Hit that notifications bell. And I'll see you in the next video, which will be part 3 of the London bus build. All right, bye for now. Cheers all.